Hello, my name is John Montgomery, and I'm one of the founding members of Five Random Guys Studios. Our team consists of 4 other members: Jeremiah Hughes, Dennis Castellanos, Stephen Eisenhower, and Matthew DeNorica. Considered one of the most turbulent times in Nirvalan history, Not Your Land places you and your cohorts on a quest for territory, power, and bloodshed. Not Your Land is a third-person player versus player open-world conquest game in which depicts the story of Ravala that is constantly being rewritten with every battle. Set in a medieval world, players choose between 3 warring factions that fight to claim the lands of Ravala for themselves. Ravala consists of 6 climatic and geological regions in which allow the players to build, wage war, and conquer on various terrains in the realm. The only way the future of Ravala can be written is by the pen of a single faction. In order to claim victory in Not Your Land, one faction must destroy all opposing factions' town centers or eliminate all opposing players. Each faction is comprised of 33 players that can choose among 5 different classes. Players can decide between being a builder, a spy, a warrior, a shaman, and a horse. Not Your Land is a server-based PvP title targeting the Steam platform. Servers will require a minimum of 72 players to begin and support up to a maximum of 99 players per server. Players can choose to enter the realm of Ravala alone or with a group of friends. Not Your Land targets both the male and female player demographic who are 17 and older. Due to the use of optional in-game voice text mechanic, blood, and gore, we here at Five Random Guys Studios believe this demographic would be appropriate. The 5 mechanics are Destroy, Collect, Steal, Scale, and Grade. The Destroy mechanic is what we're going to use to be harvesting resources for the Builder class. The Destroy mechanic is harvesting resources that only the Builder and the Warrior are allowed to do. The Warrior will have a much slower harvest speed than the Builder does. Displayed on the screen is a mock-up image of the Destroy Erase mechanic. The image displays the Builder from Orc faction harvesting wood. Once harvested, in-game resource models would be destroyed. The mechanic that I'm going to talk about now is the Collect. When a player harvests the resources, they are put into an inventory system that allows the player to store the resources they have collected so they can be used in-game. This allows the builder to have materials to build defensive capabilities as well as offensive ones as well. Following the destruction of a resource pickups appear after the model is destroyed. The image display shows the same player collecting the wood they just harvested from the tree. The steal or pickpocket mechanic would be the primary mechanic of the spy class. As a spy, a player can use their talents to steal resources from enemy buildings that are under construction and steal blueprints for upgrading items and weapons. In this mock-up image, we captured a player stealing from an enemy faction without knowing this player is losing resources from their inventory. The Grade and Assess mechanic is a recent addition to the game mechanic that now allows the players to gain experience as they battle. The player gains experience by playing to their class's strengths, such as healing for shamans, doing damage for warriors, and collecting and building for builders. Experience gained during battles allows the player to purchase new skills and weapons for the duration of that particular match. This mechanic would reset with each match, but at the end of the match, players will be provided with a breakdown of their statistics and graded against their peers. The Grade and Assess mock-up shows a player viewing their statistics in-game following a post-game report. Curious to find out who's the biggest camper? We sure are. Scale. Like Grade and Assess, Scale is being introduced as a mechanic following this version of Not Your Land. This mechanic can be seen in-game in the form of a power-up, which allows the players to use it to either grow or shrink themselves. If a player decides to grow, they would deal more damage, but would move slower and become bigger targets for enemies. Players who shrink would deal less physical damage, but can move faster and become more difficult to hit. Both transformations are temporary, as the player would return to original size after the scale potion wears off. In this mock-up, we see a group of 5 warriors shrinking down to fight an enemy warrior. Who do you think would win? In the developer's log for Not Your Land version 0.5, following the initial alpha release of Not Your Land, specific mechanics were requested by our investors to be in-game. These required the replacement of 2 previous mechanics: Memorize and Recall, and Trade. These mechanics were replaced by Grade, Assess, and Scale. The addition of these mechanics can be seen while in battling it out on the fields of Ravala, as both mechanics impact the in-game experience. Experience-based tracking provides player with the ability to measure their skills and how they rank among leaderboards. The Scale mechanic offers players to approach on how to attack and evade their enemies. We hope to see this mechanic utilized in various ways during testing. Not Your Land will compete against titles that convey real-time strategy, third-person shooting and fighting, and role-playing mechanics. Games like Fortnite, Civilization, A Realm of Kings, Ark Survival Evolved, and Savage 2: A Tortured Soul are a few that can be named. Not Your Land will seek to differentiate itself from other titles, including a queued player function, which allows queued players to vote on randomly dropped care packages that may influence in-game battles, in-game competitive clan playlists, weekly tournaments, and various in-game class functionality. For example, builders will be allowed to deconstruct enemy buildings and regain a percentage of resources. Players who play as horses can use a unique stampede ability when they are in a group of 5 or more. Spies have the ability to change their gear color to match the opposing factions. With that being said, thank you for viewing our presentation and traveling to the realm of Ravala. May the best faction win.